Hey there, hi there, ho there, and welcome back to another exciting edition of the Cardinal Couple Radio Hour podcast, where we bring you the joy and excitement of you of women's athletics. And yes, it is a glorious time of year because fall sports are back after the long time we waited to actually get some scores and results and reports on what's going on with the Louisville women's fall sports teams. In the past 2 days, we've had two events. So we will definitely talk about those today. But as we like to do, we like to kind of introduce the crew to start with. We have four in the house today. Jared kind of bouncing back and forth on us. Sometimes we have him, sometimes we don't. He's playing the deception game on us right now, but we'll get with him for sure, fully, I think. But let's go ahead and start it out. Case in the house today. Case, what's been going on with you this week?
Not much. Been keeping busy with work, driving back and forth to Lexington a bunch. Get to do it again next week. And went and played some golf yesterday, so that was nice. But it was not very good, but it was fun to get out there.
A local course or?
Yeah, we played at Glen Oaks.
Oh, nice course out there. Yeah, I remember I used to shoot that years ago.
I only hit two houses. So, well,
no
one,
windows.
One was
though, right?
one was a deck, right? Yeah, no windows.
Okay, well, that's good then. As long as you didn't knock any windows out.
No, just brick and then wood.
Cardinal
No
couple
windows.
can't afford any more bills. So, okay. So one of the things that we were looking at, kind of with the women's soccer, obviously, get in there, start off at Auburn. We'll be leaning on you a little bit today, but just in curiosity, hey, how about that? A win over an SEC school? Who is this team?
Yeah, no, it was great. We'll get a lot more into it, but first SEC win since 2019, first SEC road win since 2017. Yeah, definitely exciting.
A nice start for Karen Ferguson Days Cards. The kicking cards, as we like to call them. Also in the house with us, Daryl. Daryl, glad to have you with us today. What's been going on down on campus?
Yeah, so busy and hot. Case, I'm not sure how you enjoyed golfing if you weren't playing well.
We had a morning tea time.
Okay. Well, dude, I'm sweating before I get into work at 8 a.m. and just spend the whole day being disgusted with myself. So, just hot and trying to get out and look at what's going on campus, but it's hard to get motivated to. Ooh, I see Jared might have popped in. We'll check in on that. But
can you hear me?
Yay!
We have Jared now. Yeah.
Don't know why it's not working.
Which button was it?
I tried logging in on phone and iPad both with nothing, and I switched to the laptop, and it seems like the laptop is wanting to cooperate today. So don't know what's going on there.
Oh wow!
Sounds like an Apple.
Third time's the charm.
So we do have success early in the show. Yes.
But campus people are moving in. You know, the vendor, like the food places, are starting to open again, get their legs back under them. Just, you know what? One thing about U of L is it is just constantly changing. Like, I'm not kidding you guys. Like, there could be just this corner of a building. It's just sitting there doing nothing, and they're just like, let's change it. Or there's a hallway no one ever uses, and they're like, let's paint it, just to be doing stuff. And it's whatever, but it's just one funny thing. I'll just say, I don't know how long it's been since you all have been to the SAC, but the food vendors have been pretty consistent over years. Wendy's, Subway, Panda, Chick-fil-A, yada yada. Tell me why they had Subway in the SAC, moved it to Davidson for the last like 4 or 5 years. Now it's going back to the SAC, and it's just like we're just doing things just to be doing things. But yeah, I got to see Louis out on campus. I don't know how he was out there in the heat, but he was welcoming new students, which was cool. Lots of people moving their stuff in, which takes a lot of coordinating because if everyone showed up at the same time, it would be chaos. So like they have to sign up for slots on when they can move into their dorms and stuff, which with the two new Belknap North and South dorms right next to the SAC, it is a different vibe from back in the day when U of L was considered like commuter school.
Yeah, you're referring back to my day when basically Crawford Gym was still standing, and
Yep.
you kind of drove in, and there were plenty of places to park, wherever you wanted to park. And the big thing on campus back then was Dorm 4, which is, of course, now Johnny Unitas Towers, and
Huh.
was the huge place where students lived. It was the major one of the actual residence halls. Of course, there was Threcold Hall and Stevenson Hall and some of the others. But yeah, Dorm 4, towering above
I
the
didn't know it was
campus.
called that. But I think it's still there. It's got to be upgraded.
I think they changed it to Johnny Unitas Towers.
Unitas
Oh,
Tower.
yeah, for sure.
It's the last
That's
one
definitely what it's
standing.
called. Yeah.
And
The last moldy one.
yeah, the last.
where I stayed.
That's what I said. They have to add some updates since then.
And they were a co-ed dorm too back then, which was
It is.
kind of unheard of at U of L at the time. But
Well, it's segregated co-ed.
yeah, the women were higher than the men in the actual dorm itself. I can recall an incident back in the late '70s when I actually snuck a woman and a dog back up to her room, up the back stairwell, so the monitors in the lobby would not see us.
You had those?
Yeah, they had monitors in the lobby at dorm 4. You walked in and you had to tell them who you were there to see and what floor you were going to. And,
Wow. Well, it's just crazy to see all the new, because the Unitas was right there by that train track, and that underpass is constantly one of the ones that floods really bad. And then now at the top of those hills at that underpass where there's a roundabout now, there's like another dorm called the 9. I think that's that one. And then they have another one over by 65 on the other side. Which one?
Those are
like off
affiliate,
campus.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Until
But
U
still,
of
it's
L
just
decides
like
to
the
acquire.
amount of bodies that are now living, and then you got Denny Crum. It's just exploding. Campus is exploding.
it is wild as they're still continuing to grow down there. I guess the university club is still standing. If I'm
Oh yeah. Lots of basketball events. Like I think Daryl Griffith had a thing not that long ago. And then I was gonna mention one more thing. Oh, the Speed School. Engineering over by Eastern Parkway. They have an entire new building opening this fall. So I need to get over there and check that out. It's just crazy. See where your tuition money goes.
They have an open.
Just about done, actually.
Yeah, they have an open house event. I can.
Yeah, I heard that
like
like a venue vendor was opening over there. So I consider that taking more parking, guys, because like I used to park literally where that building is now.
Sure, but
It does.
but
take a lot of
don't
parking.
cast
And they
aspersions
repaved
when
the
our
lot next
school
door to it.
our school desperately needed some love. So
Oh yeah, it brings in so
leave us alone. The faculty parking can eat it, and we can stop having engineering
I'm talking
buildings
about
that
Papa
seem
John's
like they're
now.
not engineered. So
hung over in
They
Papa
repaved the
John's
lot
parking.
next door to it.
and our big complaint was that the townies used to come in and park in the fraternity lots.
Gotta get in where you gotta get in. Parking is a big deal. Everybody
It
all
was.
the time.
We would get mad at them because they would reserve fraternity parking, and people would come in with their little green passes and park there, and then run across the street and go to class for a few hours and come back. And we didn't like it because it was taking up our spots if we had to go out and do something. We had those spots the other 23 hours of the year or the day, so why couldn't we have them then?
Exactly.
I
used to park up in the neighborhood and walk down.
We used to call campus security to come over and ticket them, which they were a bunch of cowboys back then. Yeah, they would come over in their golf cart and kind of say, "Well, we can give them a ticket, but it don't mean they're going to pay it." Okay, thanks, guys. You want to pick some flowers while you're here? Maybe you go out and check the waiting pool. Whatever. Make yourself at home. Anywho, we have a Jared in the house as well now. Jared finally has beat the odds and joined the broadcast. What's going on with you, bud?
Not much over here. I was actually over by Speed School last night, believe it or not. They're celebrating their 100th year this year. So they're partnering with the marching band on a show later this season.
And then you've, of course, although didn't go down to Auburn for the soccer match, you were at volleyball the other night. So how was that? Did you have a fun time over there?
Oh, absolutely. I got to go in there and just catch up with a few folks and tell Dan Meskey congratulations and tell Sarah Petrovic congratulations on her promotion, and ran into the entire De Beer family, including Anna, who confirmed she was doing a little off-season rehab before she does. I believe she's going to be going overseas here shortly to do some temporary volleyball until Indy Indy Ignite picks back up. So due to a little bit of rehab and a recent just kind of shot that they put in, she's not going to be quite cleared to play at the alumni match next week. However, she will be present. So excited to see her and glad to know that she's doing well and still staying closely connected to Louisville.
Certainly. So what a memory she's been for the Cards over the years, and so happy that she's back where she's doing things again out there and continuing the Cardinal name. Happy to have her.
Absolutely. And at least being in person, there was no issues with any audio or video lag like we dealt with the women's soccer stream against Auburn Thursday.
Yeah, I literally felt sick.
We heard a lot of complaints on that soccer stream for well. And I was actually watching something on TV, so I had the game on with picture only and didn't have the volume. So I didn't experience most of the pain that everybody else did who was trying to keep the volume going with the actual photo picture itself. Because without any volume, it is what it is. It just takes place. But proud of the
No, the video was what was bothering me, like epileptic.
And mine was pretty clear. I can't really complain on it.
I think if you were watching something else and like had the stream open and you weren't like paying attention, you it was kind of backgrounded for you. You may not have even noticed a ton of it. But if it was what you were watching, which I think like for Daryl it probably was, for me on our big TV, that's what it was. It was dropping frames like nobody's business.
So often.
It
It wasn't every now and then. It was the no, I don't know.
It was like somebody had like put they put sat something on ESPN's like cable out feed, and I think it was even more annoying. Like they ran the halftime feature piece. They ran that from the ESPN truck instead of running that from some other headquarters that wouldn't be terrible. Because even I noticed we had it muted because I was not going to sit there and listen to the.
It sounded French, like foreign or something. The way that, yeah.
But even the video for a pre-recorded halftime feature was doing that, and it's like, what is happening right now? How do you guys manage this?
D-level broadcasting. Yeah. Hopefully they fix that before Sunday. Jeez.
Hopefully so. Is the women's soccer feed, out of Auburn was, I don't think it was good.
Yeah, but was that an Auburn issue or an ESPN issue?
If I had to guess, Auburn.
So what I didn't do is when I had to sign in, when I opened the ESPN app, it was weird. And that's why I texted to ask if I was the only one dropping frames. ESPN made me re-sign in. Well,
yep, we had to do that.
It told me I didn't have SEC Network Plus access. And I was like, that's definitely not true. There's no reason I shouldn't. I have ESPN Plus and I have YouTube TV. So
yeah,
we're doubling up on how I should be able to access SEC Network Plus. And so I had to sign out of my TV account and sign back in, and then it let me watch it. What I didn't do is I didn't check one of the other SEC Network Plus games to see if it was also doing that, which I guess would have told us if it was SEC Network or it was Auburn's ESPN truck, which my guess is it was that one. Just middle of nowhere, Auburn, Alabama. Doing great.
I think so too, because it's like a program run broadcast. They have people there doing their thing. But if it was ESPN's, like, I feel like if it wasn't ESPN's fault and if it was Auburn's fault, ESPN would have been mad at that broadcast and not put it out. So maybe ESPN was like, well, this is the best we can do. We're just going to run it.
Well, contractually, they're probably obligated to show it, right? They can't not show it.
I thought about if we could sue for damages. Like, I am sick. And then they'll be like, you can't. We weren't forcing you to watch it. Well, this is the only way I can watch my team. So yeah, it is the only way I can watch it. I might win something.
It's worth
Waste
a
their
shot,
time.
I guess.
The joys and excitement of college athletics. There you go, right there.
I'm not kidding.
But staying with that on that same vein with soccer, the Cards did go down to Auburn, and like we mentioned, the SEC Network Plus. It wasn't the best feed we've ever seen. It was, and like was mentioned in the article we wrote about it, it was hard to stay tuned for it. And after a while, you were just kind of like, golly, what's going on here? But the Cards were able to go down to Auburn, a SEC school that was actually in the preseason ranked 9th out of all the SEC schools. So not up there in the high echelon of the better teams in the conference, but certainly I think any SEC team is worth respecting no matter what the sport is. But the Cards went down there and got a 1-0 win. How about that on the road? So let's kind of chat this one around a little bit there, Jared. Haley Snyder.
Hadley. Sorry, Hadley.
Oh, Hadley Snyder. Okay, fine. I got the back of the net, 72nd minute of the second half, and that was the only score in the game.
Yeah, pretty solid. That's a good reason why you follow shots right there.
And certainly good to see the Cards get that win. We did not see Mackenzie Geigel, though. Did we find out any more on why she did not play?
No.
Ace, I haven't heard anything. Maybe you know why Geigley was out, other than maybe just a precautionary thing.
You know who could have figured it out? Who could have asked? SEC Network Plus, because they were covering this game. Like, it's kind of their job to find these things out. And like, what did they even do? Never mind.
They just showed her. They just showed her, and they're like, without Mackenzie Geigel.
Yeah.
They kept saying it. I was like, Geigley. You know, the pronunciation guy's probably sitting right in front of you, but okay. Yeah.
Work is hard.
but they showed her, and they're like, oh, they're without their leading scorer from last season. Sure are. Be nice to know why. Like, did she take a knock in practice?
Can someone go down there and ask?
They hope she'll be back for next week. Maybe, or they said we hope that she could be back for next week. Maybe even for Sunday. And it's like, what do you know? Like, what? Based on what information? What? This is less than useless. Like, what is even the point of showing? Is it next week
or this weekend, guys?
Yeah,
they're just talking. They just get paid just to talk, say words.
Those guys were not.
Speaking of foreign language,
cream of the crop.
Yeah, they weren't a real fine crew. That's for sure. But
at one point, they alluded to one of the broadcasters spending multiple years as a coach in the state of Kentucky. So it was saying that he should have some familiarity with Louisville, but acknowledging not at all what school that he coached at, which to me implies not a school that Louisville played in any of the years that he was a coach in the state of Kentucky. So it's like, what is even the point of bringing that up?
I think we've got a lot of.
I'm surprised you got all of that, Case, because it was so choppy for me. I just said, "What are these?" I have no idea what they're talking about. But
somewhere in Berea, they're clapping their hands at their old coach. Got to mention, I guess, whatever it is.
But I'm excited, guys. Like, there's a game under our belts, a real one on the record books, and that means fall sports is in. Like, literally, it's all going to fly by the next 2 months. It's just all of a sudden it's going to be like the last home game, senior day for soccer. And then it'll be Christmas in 2026. So, yeah.
Quite busy with the 3 sports that we cover a lot of in the fall. Of course, throwing field hockey into that volleyball and women's soccer match. And plus, we'll have some golf updates and some of the other sports that take place in the fall. But, yeah, it's underway. It's official. We've got a win in the books. And on Snyder, let's talk a little bit about her. A senior from here in Louisville. Jared, what do we know about her?
She's played a center back role alongside Carson Terry for the last couple of years now. So as you hinted at, a senior, part of a very strong senior defense we've got with her, Cherry is back there, Lizzie Sexton, one of the corners on defense. I believe Aaron Floyd's either redshirt junior or senior, but she is senior in academics at this point. So a veteran crew. She's kind of helped captain that squad back there for a while. First career goal for her, pretty solid. But that's also why you follow shots and why you need to keep somebody near the far posts, because off that corner, it kind of got kicked back out near the top of the box, and she's like, "Okay, cool. I got an open lane. I'm taking the shot. Nice window." And it was perfect, spot on shot. Very little spin. Tried to keep it as straight as possible, and that's all you needed in the match Thursday to get the win.
It's one of those shots where when you look at a rebound like that, you look at something that gets out to the top of the box. A lot of times you'll see people they'll just try to send a rocket from 20 yards out. They feel like they've got to hit it really hard. A lot of times you bomb it over the goal, you miss it wide, or it's a lot easier, which kind of maybe seems counterintuitive, but the more elevation a ball gets as a goalkeeper, the easier it is to see because there's fewer things in the way. Even if there's the same number of people between you and the ball, it is easier to track a ball in the air because you can have a better sense of where it's going to go. If it's going to hit somebody, you'll know. A ball on the ground is very dangerous because it can take really weird deflections off of feet intentionally or unintentionally, or it's just there's a lot of legs, there's a lot of movement. It's easy to lose a ball on the ground. Snyder, like Jared mentioned, put a lot of pace on it, placed it well, and it stayed on the ground, which meant that the goalkeeper trying to range all the way across the goal is difficult anyway. Having a bad sight line on it, and then incredible. I tried to tell from the replay, but the replay was so short, and I wasn't going to watch the replay on Instagram because it had the same Vietnam flashbacks of the clipping issues. But it was incredible awareness from another Louisville forward who, like I said, I couldn't tell who it was, but the ball was coming straight at their feet. Instead of trying to do something like deflect it to, steal the goal or just help it in, she just jumped over it. It was coming straight at her, and she just jumped straight up in the air. Ball went straight under her, and finds the back of the net. It was well executed. Auburn really put on a lot of pressure after that. Auburn put on a lot of pressure throughout the game, but they put on a lot of pressure after that goal. A couple late corner kicks. Aaron Floyd coming out to punch a ball away, which sometimes that's all you can do. You try to catch a ball and then you run into somebody, like happened to Auburn's goalkeeper. Ball ends up on the ground. In that case, the Auburn goalkeeper was able to land back on it, but if you don't, then you have a significant problem. So got to punch away. Louisville was able to recover on a handful of occasions, and just managed to hold on. I think we have expected going into the season that, like Jared mentioned, we've got 4 out of 5 players on defense are seniors, if you count the goalie, and all 5 of your defensive starters are returners. So that's incredible consistency from that group. I mentioned in the article too, if you extend that forward to the back two midfielders in a 4-5-2 formation, if you're getting Betsy Huckabee and A.G. Gibson starting in those roles, that's 7 out of 7 returners and returning starters for the most part. So, defensively, I think we expect this team to be very good, and they showed that putting up a pretty solid wall against Auburn. And so we'll just have to see how the offense comes through. It was brutal on Thursday night. It looked very hot. The times that they chose to have the hydration breaks made very little sense to me.
Is that what that was? I was confused on why we had a break.
They went to a commercial break, and I was like, there's no commercials in soccer. What's happening?
Yeah, I looked up, and I was like, did someone call timeout? Like, what just happened?
They came back, and they were doing a hydration break, but there was 14 minutes left in the first half. So usually those are halfway through the half, but sure.
Yeah, the math is not.
Yeah, you usually aim, about halfway through, right?
Yeah, they should be halfway, or if you're doing 2 breaks, then you would expect them on the 30-minute mark and then the 15-minute mark. So
Maybe
a
it's
random
judgment
stoppage,
call.
at 14 minutes remaining. I was like, I don't.
Maybe it's a judgment call. Like play is like really building, and someone could potentially score, so they don't want to disrupt that momentum. Maybe people don't look tired, so
Yeah,
they're
wait
just
for the next
like, we'll
stoppage.
hold off.
Yeah.
I will say I
Maybe
really
the ref
wish
needed water.
Yeah, you need to wait for the ball or something.
I really wish I could have seen the first goal to kick off the 2025 season, guys. Like, I'm not kidding. Not 10 seconds after I was done with this broadcast, because I'm not kidding, getting physically ill. Jared, we get the goal text, and I'm like, seriously? Because Thomas is sitting there with me, and I was like, we just scored. And he's like, seriously? And so, really wish I would have seen it. Sounds awesome. But got to follow on stat broadcast after that. That's why I was like, wait, why is the game getting stopped again? Like, there's no timeouts called on here in the play-by-play. I don't know what's happening. But
so
yeah.
as soon as you stopped watching the match, we scored, right, Daryl?
Exactly. That's what I was like,
We
okay,
have the key to the season right there. We're
setting a precedent.
All right, Daryl, so you can't watch anymore.
That's
Well,
right, Daryl. If we need to score, you need to leave the broadcast. That's all there is to it.
I fully believe in that sometimes. Like, that is a thing. I do that in like almost all of my sports fandoms. If the Reds are on, and I'm not kidding, there was this game not that long ago. I know it's not U of L, but a few weeks ago, he left for, I'm not kidding, 5 minutes, and the Reds scored like 8 runs. And I said, you are not allowed back in this house. And he sat on the porch the rest of the game.
So did you guys turn the game on last night when the Reds were beating Milwaukee 8-1 and then they lost 10-8?
We tried. We ended up going to the fair like crazy people. Got to see the Sledge Sisters sing "We Are Family." That was awesome. But yeah, we tuned into the Reds last night. Bummer, lost.
Yeah,
Anyways.
You tuned in. That's the problem. Turn it on. Turn it
on the phone. Yeah. Hey, I'm not the jinx. He's the jinx. So he tuned in on his phone. I was doing my thing to Sister Sledge. But yeah, so a hot one down there in Auburn. I really felt like the Cards earned that win. They, got that goal in like the 72nd or 3rd minute and had to hold on the rest of the match. Case mentioned how they turned it up and trying to at least tie it up there, but that felt like the whole match they had a lot of pressure. They did spend a lot of time over there in Aaron Floyd's area, and she held her own, and is a good win. Just getting back into the swing of things, and I feel like there were a few cramps here and there. There was a really bad, I can't remember who it was, got her knee bumped into a little bit, but just the typical, get the first game under your belt, and another win to start the season. Just always a good start for any team.
As the Cards will now move on to Sunday night, when we'll be going up against another SEC school in Vanderbilt, at Vanderbilt. This one a 7 p.m. broadcast. I have not had the chance or the opportunity to take a look much at this Vanderbilt squad so far this year. What can any of you all tell me about Vanderbilt and what kind of potential challenges they might give us?
They are ranked. They were picked to finish ahead of Auburn in the SEC. I think something that's weird that I didn't even realize in all the prep that we were doing for the Auburn game, that I learned on the broadcast, is they have a new coach. I mean, their coach of many years left. I think they said to go to USC. They brought in the coach who was last year's coach of one of the Mississippi schools. I'm not going to remember. I don't care that much.
State, I remember seeing that. Yeah.
He was the 2024 SEC Coach of the Year. So, yes, Auburn had to replace a ton from last season, but I don't understand how you bring in the SEC Coach of the Year. They had a fair amount of returners, and I don't know why the SEC voters are so down on them. They got really unlucky, and also Aaron Floyd played really well. She had 5 saves. So I think I also think that we should have been more bullish on the Cards for this matchup, knowing that Karen Ferguson Days is now 22-1-3 in season openers, and the one loss came in 2002. So, if you play Louisville on opening night, good luck. But so maybe it won't go so well against Vandy since it's not the opening game. But yeah, Vandy had a decent season last year. I mentioned they ranked 1 or 2 spots below Auburn in the final RPI of the 2024 season. This season they are ranked in the top 25 currently. I haven't done nearly as much prep for that game either, but it'll be another tough one. Louisville's first. Last night was Louisville's first win over an SEC opponent, coincidentally, since they beat Vandy in 2019. So the last time that these teams met, I believe, was that match. So maybe looking for some historical revenge. Nobody that was on that team will still be on this team for either program. But, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it turns out.
The Cards will now play Vandy on Sunday and then return home for what looks to be a 6-game home streak at our friendly Lynn Stadium on campus. The Card will start, and really just kind of looking at this, there aren't any major conference powers in this 6-game slate coming up for them, although there are a few schools here that have had some success against them, including Dayton. This is an interesting turn for Karen Ferguson. She starts out really tough with an SEC battle, and then all of a sudden they go to 6 wins. Let's kick this around. Just a attempt for her to try to get more wins under the belt as they get ready to go into conference play, or what's going on with this?
Yeah,
I like playing some lesser opponents myself.
I'm sorry, Jared, I kind of lost you there on that a little bit.
Yeah, I like playing some lesser quality opponents in the mix there, especially with the ACC as good as it is. Get slightly weaker non-conference schedule, get some extra wins under your belt. If nothing else, it just either builds momentum or builds confidence with your players, and then it gives them to kind of keep playing.
I think I've said before that I think that little stretch there will be really great for the team because, they're on campus for that amount of time. They get the school semester under their belts, just kind of get in the swing of things before they head into conference play. I think it's kind of a really genius move, and lucky them. They could hopefully come out with a really good record at that point before they head to Florida State.
I'd have to agree with you on that, and if you kind of take a look at what comes up for the Cards after that non-conference slate, they have a total of 10 conference games waiting them, and out of those 10 conference games that are waiting for them, it's an even match of 5-5. But the ACC is a bear you don't want to poke too often, and we haven't had the best of luck in the ACC. We'll throw this around the table here a little bit, guys. Is this a team that could have some success in the ACC this year?
It's hard to gauge after just one match. I mean, at least defensively, you've got such a veteran crew that I wouldn't be worried from a defensive standpoint. But there's always so many uncertainties until you can see how the new players are fitting into the team and just how the whole roster is able to gel. So I don't really have enough quite yet.
Yeah, I don't think we got to see enough of the offense, especially with Giggs on the sideline. We just don't know enough after that one match. And to Jared's point, our defense is very good, but this is not a sport where you go to penalty shootouts in the regular season. And the absolute best that a perfect defense can give you is a 0-0 draw on their own. So we're going to have to see something from the offense. That's been the struggle for the Cards in recent seasons. Even looking at last year, when you say, well, their leading scorer Mackenzie Gagley was a midfielder. She was coming from the front. That's great. And you're like, yeah, sure, that is great. She scored only 7 goals, and your second leading goal scorer was your center back. And those mostly came on set pieces. Your leading assister was your corner taker. So those came on set pieces. Louisville's offense just was not very dynamic last season. And, they only put 2 shots on frame on Thursday. And so they weren't super dynamic on Thursday either, but like I said, missing a critical portion of that. Swinarski is stepping up in her role, and she is still young. Liza Sudom is a transfer, so still waiting to see what all is going to come from there. But to have success in the SEC, or the ACC, sorry, to have success in the league, Louisville's going to have to get some offensive firepower going and get the consistency from the defense. Like I said, a perfect defense gets you a 0-0 draw, but it only takes one situation, one good shot, one foul, one set piece that goes awry, and then you're down a goal. You have to be able to respond offensively. So,
as we'll hope to see the Cards use this 6-game home streak to improve all the things you mentioned there, Case, and get themselves in a condition where they can head into the bear that is the ACC. And certainly, when you take a look at these first 3 matches, FSU, at Virginia Tech, at Clemson, and then Clemson coming in here. Wow, it's like that is a tough 3-game opening to the ACC for sure. But most of the schools that you're going to run into there, they're all pretty decent. So we'll kind of moving on over. Also, at happening last night on campus is volleyball began their season with a red-black scrimmage. Although the scrimmage in itself had several players kind of jumping back and forth to other teams. Jared, you were out there for that one, and of course, getting photos and such. What were your thoughts on the scrimmage?
I think a lot of the fan base was uncertain how the team would look with, the loss of your head coach and many of your star players from last year with Beer, Scott, and Luke were all graduating. But Dan Meskey has done a phenomenal job already as a associate coach, and he did a lot of the in-game adjustments last season anyways. That's been a pretty smooth transition. And then on top of that, instead of being like a rebuild year, he's reloaded. You had enough players that saw valuable playing time last year return, that you had a solid core group to work with. And then it's what pieces do I need to fill and work on. And that's where getting a couple transfers coming in was a big thing. And then you had some solid freshmen joining the squad as well. So they're going to be very good. Maybe a couple growing pains here and there. It's just you trying to relearn a system without the kind of the heart and soul of your team for the last few years with your 2 locals and DeBeer and Scott. I'm not going to be too worried. They should stay top 8 all year. I don't see them dropping really below that. So assuming they keep winning, we're going to see them go pretty far in the tournament. Without a doubt, Kara Cressy looked to be the best player on the team. She's certainly in great position to get another All-American honor this year. Could potentially be one of the top in the country. And solo blocks, should be one of the best middle blockers as a whole, very well-rounded, because she's also an offensive style middle blocker. No concerns there. A little bit more of a setter battle than maybe we thought once Elliot Glock retired. So Naelis Cabello is returning as ACC Freshman of the Year. She split a lot last year with Glock. They brought in a senior transfer, Molly Wilson, from out west for her last year of eligibility. So you'd have to assume Wilson wouldn't have come in here with the mindset that there's no chance she'd play anyways, because that's not really how you want to spend your senior season usually. So there's going to be a little bit of a battle. Maybe Meskey decides to roll with the 6-2 that U of L's had last couple years, or maybe he's just going to say, no, it's going to be an all-out battle, and we're going to have one winner. I think Cabello looks slightly better, personally. Sometimes those first passes on the back row aren't exactly where you want as a setter. So you've got to be able to be pretty quick and agile to get in position and then still have a good set after that. And I think Cabello seemed to be a little bit better from that perspective. Camden Tran, I think when last season ended, she probably had in her head anyway she was going to be the starting libero. Maybe a little bit more competition back in spring ball than she was ready for, and probably a little bit of an awakening for her because she came out and certainly looked phenomenal last night. So that spot is definitely hers to lose right now. I do think we'll see Molly Urban play some defensive specialist role just in that back row alongside her, but more as a true DS. Hannah Kenny's kind of bounced back and forth between setter and DS. I don't see Kenny really doing much as a setter behind the other two we've got right now, so probably more of a DS role. And then outside hitters, opposite side hitters, Mesky's got a lot to work with. Obviously, the return of Peyton Peterson, who we saw had her breakout moment last year when DeBeer went down. Peterson's shown some really bright glimpses already. It's also nice when your own parent is a head coach for another Division I program, so you probably grew up a little bit better than a lot of your competition. No concerns there. Bringing in Chloe Chicoin from Purdue, who was the top outside hitter in her class when she committed to Purdue back in the day. She's not always about power, which she can bring, but she reads the defense and reads the block well. So she knows when she needs to bump it or just kind of push it through a window versus just 100% just go straight at it and try and get a kill. So seems like a high volleyball IQ in my opinion. Other side, you're going to see Reese Robbins, who's returning again for her sophomore year. Has a lot of good potential. She also did well with the blocking. But freshman Calissa Blackshear showed some nice glimpses last night too. I think Robbins will probably get the nod over Blackshear. But there's plenty of players out there that I think are going to be in good shape. And I think even like Alana Bankston could come in and play maybe a good rotational or substitution role on the offensive end if you need another outside hitter just to go more offensive based.
And the team itself, Jared, when you take a look at this and you all kind of weigh in on this, if you will, Dan is no stranger to this team. Obviously, being the head assistant for Danny Busboom Kelly, he worked with them closely. And a lot of times, if you just watched the game and didn't really know much about it, you would have thought Dan was the head coach because he was the one out there barking and shouting and giving directions and everything. Well, Danny just kind of sat there and smiled, and occasionally got up to say something. Now that it's all his baby, now that he's the head coach on things, I don't see any continuation in the excellence of this Louisville volleyball game. Your all's thoughts on that?
Did you say you don't?
I think you mean you don't see any disruption to the continuation?
Yeah, I don't see any at all.
Okay. Yes, I agree. I specifically remember watching a handful of matches last season or so and with Thomas, and he's like, he noticed, like he's not the biggest volleyball participant. He's a fan, but he doesn't watch all the time. He's like, who's the guy? Like I always see him in the huddles. So, I mean, I think, and I want to give Danny Busboom Kelly some credit as well, because I think it's always been in the works. It's always been in the back of her mind where her heart ultimately led. And I think that she still loves this place because, sometimes it does get you from here to there. And she gave it her all. She put us in a great position. So I think she wanted to leave it in a great position. And so she did that intentionally, allowing Dan to get those moments with the squad in tight situations and able to figure it out and kind of left this place in a better place than she found it. So huge credit to Danny. A lot of excitement and experience for Dan. So just bring on the sparkly blazers, Dan, and it's all there.
Reference, of course, to Danny's sometimes glittery outlook. Well, as far as dress wear went, Case, looking at this team still looks like it's loaded for bear and able to compete well. Of course, obviously missing DeBeer, that was such a key factor to this team, but DeBeer, basically, when she went down, Peyton Peterson stepped up and kind of said, okay, next one up, and that's me.
Yeah, I think you look at the loss, to me, of Charity Looper is just as big as the loss of Anna DeBeer. and I say that on the offensive end, not to diminish the loss of Elena Scott as well, which will impact the offense, to be clear. Jared mentioned Cabello having to chase down some errant back row passes. Elena Scott's not standing back there on serve receive anymore, making everything good. So it's going to take a big step up from Camden Schran to fill that gap, which was the first pass, always pretty solid. If it was hit to Elena Scott. Now, most teams realized, let's not serve towards her. But DeBeer was pretty good when she was healthy. When she was a little bit hobbled, we saw some of that dip, and her full rotation play was diminished some. But Louisville's back row passing was really strong, which helped the offense immensely. But Charity Looper, it was just the Swiss Army knife of offense, and if Chloe Chicoin is filling the gap that was left by Anna DeBeer playing full rotation, being the all around player, then that means Peyton Peterson has to step up. And it's like, yeah, it'd be great if you're full rotation, but we also need somebody that's just going to step in and absolutely kill the other team, which is what Charity Looper would do. She would just have those matches you would see when she's got, 15, 16, 17 kills, and just seemingly unblockable. And so you're going to have somebody that can step in when Chicoin is being keyed on. And I wonder, how does Kara Cressy's offense develop? She's a wall in the middle, right? Her blocking is incredible. Would be good to see more kills from her as well. So that way you keep the pins even more freed up. Don't allow the opposing defense to focus so much if that opportunity is right there in the middle. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this offense takes shape with new characters, more or less, playing similar roles. A little bit like a Broadway show, right? Like when one cast leaves, but it's still the same show. You just got some new actors, some returning players, filling those roles. But hopefully, we're still putting in incredible performances.
Yeah, I think I'm right there with you. I just think every time I'm like, man, this program is going to lose such a important and legendary player from the roster, then the very next man up is just right there in some of the same conversations. So every time I have doubt, I'm proven why I shouldn't. So I believe in this program and their brand and just where they've gotten under this leadership. So it's really exciting times. I love that it's back on campus sometimes. And also I do love that they're down at the Yum Center bringing some fans to the downtown area. So just a great program to be a fan of and ready to get some quality wins for another season.
This may be an unpopular opinion, but I actually prefer when they play at LNN over the Yum.
You have your reasons, I'm sure.
It's just more for opposing teams to have the fans right on top of you, almost to the point they could reach out and touch you. And it gets so loud because that venue and arena is so small and there's so much concrete that the sound bounces. There was, I don't know, a couple of middle or high school groups there last night. It wasn't very crowded. It is maybe a quarter of the way full at LNN, which isn't that many people. But this high school group, middle school group, whatever they were, all these high-pitched squealing and screeching. And it was loud in there to the point that I was regretting not bringing earbuds. You don't get that same result at the Yum Center for a regular match. Even 8,000, which would be a good turnout. It's not that loud at the Yum.
I have a counterpoint. Instead of just the velvet curtains, which are needed for some shows, some events when you are going to black out the upper bowl, right? if you're going to have the volleyball matches, you're going to black out the upper bowl. Have a different material that you can use instead of the velvet curtains that is more reflective in sound instead of absorptive. And that
it would help a lot.
You can still get a nice arena-style environment. They're never going to do this, right? Like this is, I'm just speaking into the ether.
Right.
I could write the same. I could write an email to U of L and the arena board every single day, and they would never do this. But it'd be crazy. It'd be cool to have a different material than just the velvet curtains. It could still be black. It doesn't have to look any different. But it could help improve that home arena environment when you have it in the smaller configuration. Because even like even Freedom Hall, if you're not filling it out, it's still just concrete and metal, and it's just loud. and the Yum Center is a luxury NBA style arena that is not designed to be that way, so it's going to absorb more noise. But you can help that. You can. Nobody ever thinks about that because acoustics is about deadening noise for the most part. But you can just make it louder intentionally and help things. So that'd be an opportunity. But I do agree, if you're not going to sell 14,000 seats, then it's not worth having the match at the Yum Center. It's cool. It's nice. I think it does offer something to opposing players because they aren't playing in arenas like that. They're like, oh my gosh. And when you get a bunch of people there, then it's awesome. But when they were turning out, you look at when they moved to the Yum Center full time and the mistake that turned out to be, you're turning out 2,500 people in a 23,000 seat arena. That doesn't look good. That's not appealing.
Poor Katie George had to play in front of that.
2,500 in L&N, that's a sellout. So, it's an interesting situation they find themselves in, and just more reason to say, hey, where's that 8,000 seat arena on campus for a couple of sports that are looking for it.
Yeah, stop renting out the old silo lot to Ford to store a bunch of vehicles, and have the foundation go ahead and work with athletics to build a new arena. And then you've got room for parking.
I am curious to see what Jerry Bradley, how his relationship with the foundation will be different from Schatzel's. Which is to say, I think it already is.
Gang, I had to cut out there for a second, but was able to jump back in for the end here anyway. Case not to interrupt you or anything, but that deadening silence on my end was me.
But yeah, just saying, like I think from what I'm hearing, the relationship between Jerry Bradley and the foundation is already different in that he's willing to play ball. For anybody that wasn't aware, Schatzel would not do business with the foundation because the foundation was what it was. Until they cleaned up the situation, she was not willing to do land acquisitions. She was not willing to build on foundation land. And so it kind of put a little bit of a standstill on U of L project opportunities and what they were going to be doing. And I think that might be a little bit different with new leadership at the university. So we'll see.
As we certainly will look forward to the future. This fall is underway. As we kind of move into our final thoughts here and stuff, I know it's been a long time for us waiting to get back into where we're actually reporting on events and games and players and situations and such, and not merely speculation on what might happen in transactions. It's good to be back, and just as kind of my final thought to start it out. I'm glad we're here for another season. I'm glad we're back, and certainly we're going to endeavor to bring you, the listener, the best we can in the joy and excitement of women's sports. And we'll move on with the final thoughts. We go to Jared next, maybe?
Yeah, I'm glad we have sports again. I could break out my new camera equipment last night at volleyball and try some stuff out, and that'll allow me to sit a little bit closer to the court in some circumstances too. I'll be ready to bring it out at soccer and field hockey as those sports are quickly coming up as well.
Jared will be the man on the court or the field, so to speak, taking pictures of himself with other players. There you go. Case, how about you? Final thoughts?
Yeah, looking forward to this women's soccer team. Seasons couldn't have started out any better. I mean, sure you could have won by 6, I guess, but you take a 1-0 road win. It's hard to do better than that. No injuries, despite no injuries from the match, despite whatever's going on with Mackenzie Gagley. Emerson Jennings took a scary knock, and then Lizzie Sexton got kneed in the face. And after that, the player was like, "Why am I getting a yellow card?" Oh, what an interesting question. So yeah, it's good to know that we're heading into Sunday as full strength as we were Thursday, and we'll see what comes once they return home.
Classic case of her face getting in the way of the player's knee. So one of those situations. Daryl, what do you got for us on final thoughts?
I'm still thinking about how jealous I am that Case went golfing yesterday, and
we'll have to go out. We'll have to go out sometime, Daryl.
I'd love to. And I need to get out there. I have one of those like yearly pass golf thingies that the state does, and I still haven't used it, not once, and I'm running out of time. So, so I got to get a tee time on my radar, and again, we need to. Case, I wonder if we can make it out to the Cardinal Club. That should be our aim. There we go.
Ooh. That's one. It's a tough course, and 2, it's an expensive course to be bad at.
You could do some coach and player interviews while you're out there.
Yeah.
We could do scramble style.
We'll get an invite. How about that?
Certainly so. And if you know any members out there, now would be the time to cultivate those friendships. See if you can get on the tee out there. I never had the opportunity to play the course when I was playing, although I saw it built basically and drove around and looked at it a little bit and stuff. But as far as you were mentioning, Daryl, about the actual golf passes, there are some great golf courses in this state that you can go ahead and play for sure. And certainly have had some fun playing them in past years when I was playing pretty actively. I always like to go up to General Butler and play a nice little course up there. And certainly the others throughout the state. If you swing them, go ahead and hit them good, so you don't have to be in there crawling around with snakes and bugs and other items looking for a little white thing. That's going to kind of do it for us. I want to thank everybody for tuning into the Cardinal Couple Radio Hour podcast, and certainly hope everybody has a great remainder of the weekend. And as we like to say, go Cards.